Greetings from the Erie Coast. This is Mad Chad. Southern coast of Lake Erie. Maybe I should say that. Greetings from the Southern Erie Coast. Oh, whatever. So, we're going to talk about Siawana Revolution. Let's talk about revolutions. There's been a few in our history. There's one that we know of. But throughout history, you've had revolutions. The French Revolution, or Marie Antoinette. Shouldn't have said let them eat cake, huh? Yeah. Anyway, so I'm listening. Yeah, I haven't checked out Off-Grid Desert Farming, Paul and Adrian. Please do. He puts out some good intel, but a lot of it, it's laced with a lot of praise the Lord. The Lord is coming, Mark the Beast, and all that. So that's fine. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Praise the Lord, pass the ammunition. Praise the Lord, we'll all be free. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The United States military is the baddest motherfucker in the world. Okay? Now, I understand that Russia and China are mass-producing ships at an exponential level. Just pumping them out. And they're trying to modernize their military. They are still like 30 years behind us, man. I'm telling you. China is a paper tiger. I bet a very big paper tiger. But nonetheless, paper tiger. What they have is they have a lot of people. They got a lot of gear. They have all that. But they don't understand our way of war fighting. What they understand is massive, overwhelming force. We can deal with that. That's fine. That's great. Make your intentions known. Give us a target. We will destroy it. That's how the military works. Okay, and it's integrated. If you can imagine that. If you can imagine a integrated. If one soldier sees it, everybody sees it. So it's targeted from hundreds, if not thousands, of data point collections, whatever the technology is, be it radar, be it sonar, be it thermal, be it FLIR, be it whatever it is, we can, boom, everybody can see it. And we have many, many capabilities to alleviate that target, to liberate that target from this plane of existence. So we have that. We have that capability. We have the capability to send anything right down into your shirt pocket. That's what we've done, actually. We've done that. Without being seen. That's the other thing, is we figured out everybody's radar capabilities and everybody's senses, their eyes, their ears, their nose of their military, and we've negated that. There's some, it's not 100%, but we've done it. That's what scares everybody. We could fly right into China right now, and they would never fucking know it. We were doing it for 30 fucking years to Russia, and you never do it. Oh, I'm sorry, 40 years. Yeah, the Black the stealth bomber. They never fucking knew it. Afterwards, they're like, ooh, do svidaniya. Oh shit. I mean, whenever you say oh shit in Russian, they were, whoa. We could have ended it at any time. Could have just... Could have nuked them at any time. They would have never known. They never seen it coming. So how the fuck? And we've progressed exponentially in our technology, and if China's going to mass produce things, we all know what China makes. They make crap. They mass produce crap. They're good at it. So it stands to reason they're going to mass produce a crappy ass military. They just don't have the capability. They've been trying for years and years to steal our secrets, and whatever they have gleaned, them and the Russians, the Chinese, they're pretty good at that whole hacking thing. We're the best. Make no mistake about that. We are the best. And we don't let anybody know about it. That is truth, son. That is truth. I'm telling you. Know this. A lot of other people know this too. Capabilities of the United States military. I just found out that there was a ship I was on. It's called the USS Ponce. You can look this up. At the time that I was on it, went to the Mediterranean. I don't even remember the classification. It was that old ship. It was in the World War II. This ship had been in World War II, and its last year was its last voyage. It was going to go back to the steel yard and get scrapped and be made into something else. It was going to get disassembled. The Ponce, the Ponce, USS Ponce. That was how we pronounced it. That's what they called it. Whatever. It was a nice ship. It was an old ship. I was a young ass Lance Corporal at the time. It carried an LCAC. We were also on Zodiacs, and it also had some Harriers and some helicopters on it. So that's the kind of capability it had, and Marines. We were in the berthing area right next to the boiler room, so it was super fucking hot. It didn't have the coffin racks. I think the Navy had the coffin racks. We had the cots that were stacked on top of each other. So it was basically open fucking cots. We had little lockers. That's what
sucked.
But that's how we did. That's how we did a med float. I've been on two med floats. So that was one of the med floats, and I worked in the wardroom. That was cool. I got to eat some really good chow. So I'm very, very familiar with the USS Ponce. And it was an old rickety ship, and it had its issues, but it was a good, solid ship. That was the thing. And it had lasted, since World War II. It's still in service. Damn. But our time was back in the 90s. It was supposed to be its last voyage. It was supposed to go back to the shipyard and get dismantled and turned into scrap and turned into another ship. I just found out. Oh no, the USS Ponce survived. But let's move on. But it's got a freaking laser on it.
A very big laser.
A badass fucking laser. A laser. A fucking laser. And they've tested it. You can see the test. They just... fucking laser. unlimited. It has unlimited range. It's only limited by its power source, which they didn't talk about that.
It's classified.
But so I understand that things are very alarming out there and overseas. They usually are. It always seems like the odds are stacked against us. And that's what they want to think. Well, want you to think as well. Is that, oh shit, we're going to be destroyed. And even though China and Russia and even Iran and North Korea, I mean, it's like, that's who we're going to be fighting. They claim that they have all this high-tech weaponry and everything that we have, they've negated, they've already surpassed, and they have it's like a chess game, okay. Well, you've got your knight, well, my bishop takes your knight, or, rook takes bishop, queen takes everything. Imagine a military of nothing but chess pieces that are queens that are disguised as pawns. Okay, go you one better. Imagine that you're playing a chess game and you cannot see the other chess pieces as they're attacking. The only way you know that there's chess pieces out there is that you keep losing chess pieces. That's what we bring to the table. From the most highest technology, and I mean highest, to the man on the ground, the operator behind the gun. That's an amazing capability. Amazing capability. That's something nobody else can do. They try. They try. And we can see them. It's amazing. It is. It's
We can
amazing.
see them before they see us.
See you. You can't see me. Ain't that crazy? I mean, that's we own the night. We own everything. Yeah, they got supersonic missiles. We've had those for years. We have supersonic. We have fucking lasers. Speed of light. Can't beat that. And it's pinpoint accuracy. And they've used it and tested it extensively. It can take out anything. Supersonic ICBM missile done in laser. You know how I am with my conspiracy theories. I'm not really into that, but I have seen footage of freaking energy beams coming from the surface of the Earth, attacking UAPs up there. So, with the UAPs kind of moved out of the way. So I've seen that. It's kind of compelling, but I still don't know. I'm still skeptic about that. But even with the nuclear bombs, we went so far as getting their launch codes. Y'all don't hear about this. It was during the Cold War. Well, actually, you probably did. All the missiles activated in Russia. They all activated.
USSR.
They didn't launch. They were activated, and the missile in the silo, or or in the submarine, in a few submarines, were activated, but the launch was disengaged, and they were set to detonate. All their fucking nuclear missiles were set to detonate. Nobody knows why. Most people are like, "Oh, that's the aliens doing that." You see some little flashing lights in the sky. And then they stopped. And nobody ever said anything about it. Russians never said anything about it. We never said anything about it. At this time, China wasn't even a superpower. They were dealing with their own little problems. Yeah, it's going to be rough. It's a World War III. It's going to be more kinetic than anything, and that's our bread and butter. Kinetic. I mean, we bring in the kinetic. Don't we?
Send it.
Yeah.
Full send. Fire for effect.
But what I do see is things happening that's let to happen. You know, Pearl Harbor never should have happened. They actually knew that they were coming, but they were like, they're just out there fucking around, or they let it happen. So I don't know. Could the Japanese have made that ballsy ass move to fly under the radar for that long? Yeah, it's possible, and it was a ballsy move for them, and that's all they could do. And you've seen what that did. That made it worse for them.
Kick the hornet's nest.
You know, diseases come and go. Pandemics, epidemics. You know, the great thing about being a human, excuse me, is that we have a immune memory built into our DNA. Yes. So if you survive Corona, you'll never get it again, and your kids will never get it again. Crazy, huh? How many people do you know that have, smallpox? How many people do you know that have the bubonic plague? How many people do you know that have whooping cough, sleeping disease? And how many people do you know that have lockjaw? I mean, it's is there any more cases of consumption? I mean, it's funny how coronavirus cured the fucking flu, the common cold. So it takes time, though. It takes time. It takes a little time. A couple generations. But most living beings are like that. But we're always being attacked by something. Boost up your immune system, and get the necessary medication to treat it, and hopefully you will make it and survive. Excuse me. So make no mistake about it. That we got shit covered. The entire world is scared of us, as they should be. The only thing that we can do is destroy ourselves, which we are. We're working on that. And instead of never interrupt your enemy as they're destroying themselves, they will try to interrupt us, and that will galvanize us. And there'll be no such thing as left and right, black and white. It'll be Americans fighting the invaders. And yeah, you're gonna have folks here going for their going to their side, but it's
give peace a chance.
And they won't. Every red-blooded American will be foaming at the mouth to get a piece of the action. Yeah. And that could be the plan. And everybody will be involved. Every nation is going to, the war drums will beat. We do have a lot of allies out there, so, and that might be an issue too, is that our allies, stab us in the back. Excuse me. It is past my bedtime. I usually go to bed at 9. It's 15 till 12 right now, on Saturday night. But I got a lot to think about. War with China. It's history repeats itself, and can bite you in the ass. So yeah, China threatened Japan right off the bat, because Japan took the stance. They said, "Well, we'll fight China if they try to take Taiwan." And China was like, "Okay, you'll be the first to be bombed. You'll be the first to be nuked. You're the only country that's ever been nuked. Now you'll be the second, and we'll do it. We'll continuously do it until you surrender." Mm-hmm. So China's doubled down, and they did say, and they have this thing that they don't want to start the first. They don't want to be the first one to shoot off the nuke.
I think they call it the first strike option.
So their contingency is they'll only shoot off a nuke if they're shot at. So,
or something to the equivalent.
If they're threatened to the point where they have to shoot off a nuke, they will shoot off a nuke. But they don't want to be the first, they said. I don't understand that. I don't believe that either. But I kind of like what they if you know anything about history, Japan is given China a hard way to go. They're responsible for, they've got a lot of Chinese blood on their hands in history, and China is still sore about that, and they actually used that in their military against Japan. Japan really fucked with them hard back when Japan was in the imperial Japan with the emperors. They were forced to be reckoned with. They were, and they were cruel, cruel and bloodthirsty. Very. The atrocities they did
Rakasan
on their own soil. It's horrendous. And China brought that up. I've been to Japan. I've been to Japan. I've been to Okinawa. Great place. It's nothing like that now. I mean, you don't see everybody trying to be a samurai over here. Isn't that the way? It's kind of like Germany. They get their ass whooped and they calm the fuck down and get some enlightenment from it. Get enlightened.
Enlightenment.
So,
I said your words.
That's neither here nor there. But if we do go to war, it's a strong possibility. It's up to them, though. It's up to everybody else. You know, we'll be fine. We'll be fine unless they let something slip in. That's the only thing. We have a net, a virtual fucking dome of impenetration around the United States, and we have the ocean, and we have all this airspace. And Canada, Mexico, we got that shit unlocked here. Seriously. Canada is a little bit more advanced. We've shared a lot of stuff with them, and they've developed on that. Mind you, we also taught Israel. We taught Israel. We took Israel under our wing. Literally.
F-15s.
Gave them our wings. Because and they ran with that, and they started their own. They're the ones that started a whole lot of their IMF stuff. Is amazing. I love it. I actually have it. I've owned a few of their guns, and I have one now, 40 cal, the Baby Eagle. So yeah, they don't fuck around, but we taught them. We taught them. The British. We learned from the whole world. See, that's what we do, right? We make better. And we took everything. The SAS, they were top notch, in their craft and field. We took from everyone and learned and developed and went on from there. And so I don't see. We could fight a war on multiple fronts and win very quickly. That's the thing, very quickly.
Without nukes.
The things that you've seen in Afghanistan and Iraq, you needed that was very subdued. That was a very subdued warfare. Even though a lot of shit went on there. We gave the world a taste with Desert Storm. So, but it's the aftermath that we're worried about. The Afghanistan thing, we had to get in there, and we had to get with the hearts and minds of people and hunt down actual terrorists and deal with that on a different level. And that we did succeed with everything at their disposal. So a lot of things were perfected in Afghanistan as well, and carried on and researched and developed. But we have a lot of other stuff just sitting there in hangars, in underground bunkers, just waiting, just waiting. Okay, send it. So that's a hell of a thing. So you think about that. Think about the capabilities that we have. Even down to our organization skills. Truly amazing. Truly amazing. No other country has that. No other country really has that capability. If they do, we shared it with them. Not too many countries and organizations have that capability. In the UN, their special forces guys are the GS and the French Foreign Legion, which are badass, absolutely badass. But I mean, no.
We make up the majority of the UN.
We got some Ghost, like Ghost Prepper. We got Ghost. We got them. exist, but they don't. So, yeah. If you need to be dead, you will be dead. I mean, that's just it. But that's not the end goal. That's not what we're seeing. But if we have to defend this country, make no mistake about it. The gloves will be off. There's not going to be a mercy compassion thing. It's not. It's going to be rounds on target. That's it. It's going to be work. Work's going to be put in. It's going to be done. So that's who we are. And we're having a internal conflict, a major internal conflict, where, this talk of balkanization. So what would that look like? They've already come out with maps where 30-40% here, 30-40 this area and this area. You get the southeastern, and you got the northeastern, and you got the central eastern, the west eastern, all these areas, the west. I don't even think Alaska's in it. Alaska's just gonna be on their own. But what does that mean? I mean, yeah, man. Thank you, Paul and Adrian. Yeah, man. Do it. Do it. Thank you, Paul. So, if you're a praying person, go ahead and pray, but, it's okay. We're going to give, if anybody attacks us, the Chinese or Russians.
Napoleon once said that God is on the side of those with the best artillery. We have the best artillery.
The Iranians, the North Koreans. I mean, you just think about it. Okay, all right, just think about this. Take your average American, 6 foot tall, average, 6 foot tall, roughly 200 pounds. Okay. Take your average Russian, 5, 10, 120 pounds, 130, 150.
150,
Probably about 150, 160, your average Russian.
170.
Man, this is fighting males. All right, let's just stick with fighting males. Your average Chinese, 5'2", 5'3", 5'5", I don't know, maybe. Roughly 120 pounds. Your average Iranian, a little bit taller. I've seen some that are possibly 5'11", but 130 pounds, 150 pounds. Your North Korean, your average North Korean, 5'2", 100 pounds. So, tell her the tape. Tell her the tape. Just saying there. Just saying. We're big. We're big. We're strong. So, but okay. Yeah, that's great. But to have an internal conflict inside the United States of America and to be balkanized, all these states kind of break away. How's that going to look? Are we going to be our own little nation inside? So it's going to be the United nations, states of a nation. I mean, you know, I seen the map and I was like, yeah, if that happens, I'm out of Ohio. But Ohio, what about, you know, because they're looking at like conservative and radical left. You know, most people are actually conservative throughout the country. I mean, seriously, we are. And it's just a few states that hold these democratic vestiges of democracy and communism and socialism. So, sure, you know, they can have their own. California, New York, that's their mecca. I mean, you've been to Mecca? It smells like Shiite. Here, it smells like Shiite. Anyway, really does. But what are the people in a state, like say a blue state? What are they going to do? He's just going to up and move? Go to a red state? Serious question. I don't know where Ohio goes in this. It's part of this balkanization. Is it going to go red? Or is it going to go blue? I mean, red team, blue team. Which one? You know? And when I say red team, blue team, obviously it's you know, red for Republican and blue for Democrat. But I think we're past that. I think we're really past that.
Majority of Ohio is Republican.
I don't know.
The government's
a more conservative, constitutional-minded society that enjoys the freedoms that the constitutions give. So I would look at it like a constitutional purist with, you know, with odds, you know, at socialism. So you have these cluster of states that are going to claim socialist and they're going to act accordingly and such. So are those people, are the conservative constitutionists going to be allowed to leave? Am I going to, if I don't like Ohio, am I going to be allowed to leave? Or am I going to be counted as an asset, you know, to be taxed and enslaved into their socialist regime? So, I mean, these are questions I have to think about. You know, how do I get out of a bad state? Move to and if I leave, is the other state that I want to go to going to allow me to come in? I mean, what about that? What about Texas just closes their borders and says, nah, I ain't coming in. You had your chance. Fuck y'all. Matter of fact, we're kicking people out. You know, Texas has always wanted to be their nation anyway. They were our own nation. Great state of Texas. So, what about that? What if you leave a socialist state, you know, in seeking asylum in a constitutional state? Is that constitutional state going to allow you to come in? Is there a vetting process? Is there a questionnaire? I mean, at that point, what the fuck? You know, you're your own country, and you know, even though we all speak the same language, how are you going to disturb people of certain people? I mean, man, this is talk about crazy. I mean, you know, if I wanted to, it would be so easy to infiltrate another cluster of states and wreak havoc, you know, create hate and discontent. And what about that? Is there going to be conflicts with these certain states, even if they are constitutional states, you know, because one is kind of purple and one is kind of, you know, reddish, you know, purple being mixed with red and blue. You know, they're leaning more to the purple side, but they're still red. They're still constitutional, but they're still kind of, you know, socialist. You know, what if another cluster state doesn't like that and they're all red? You know, and they're like, fuck that. Let's Don't come over here. What about commerce? How's that? How's that going to work? What about the military assets in these states? They're all spread out. We have everything all spread out. In some states have more than others. Some have less. Here, there's no Air Force here. Not in northern Ohio. That's down in southern Ohio, near Cincinnati. They got a big Air Force base here. Here we've got the Coast Guard. And they don't have much of a presence. I doubt the Coast Guard's going to be running shit around here. But there is a large contingency of National Guard and police. So I mean, that's serious here. So what about that? These are questions that I have, and these are questions going forward if everybody's going to go balking, and I don't like that balking term, but
live long and prosper.
You want to call it balkanization? That's fine. That's what it is. It's a split. It's a divide and conquer. And I really truly believe that a split like that will never be. They'll never return back to normal. And these clusters of states, who the hell made this? Who the hell made this map? And I'm looking at this map, and it's all cut up. It's easily cut up, and it's like playing a game of Risk. And what about outside influence? Say, West Coast just says, "Oh yeah, come on in, China. Set up bases, whatever you want to do. Yeah, we're on board. Whatever. What the fuck? What do we do? What can we do? We're splintered. Torn asunder. Our military works because we all contribute to this massive military-industrial complex. And yeah, for the most part, there's some issues, but for the most part, it is deadly. It is the most deadly military the world has ever seen. Yes, the most effective military might that the world has ever seen. That Genghis Khan himself would be like, whoa. Okay, yeah. So, and he had the baddest military the world has ever seen. Biggest empire for the longest time. We're just a small country in comparison. Well, we're actually a big country. We have a lot of land. But we're surrounded by water on two sides, and ice and snow in the north, and blistering heat at the bottom. So, fire in the hole. We could easily take fucking Mexico. Just take it. We should. That would be the best thing to ever happen to Mexico. We just made it the 51st state. We went to war with them a few times back in the past. Spanish-American War. Yeah. The Mexican Wars. Remember the Alamo. So it can happen again. This time.
Correction. Spanish-American War wasn't with Mexico.
They're going to be straight up marauders.
It was with Spain.
And they're going to push might. They're going to push. They're going to be violent. Be advantageous. But so these are questions I have. And that means that each cluster is going to have their own military, their own standing army, their own equipment, and their own airspace and checkpoints. Man, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. And even though we have all that stuff in the states, it's going to have to be moved and reorganized and reassessed. And what if that general in charge of that area says, "No, I'm going to New York, where that happens. That happens. That Robert E. Lee, who was he was a great general of the Confederate side. He was considered. He was asked to lead the Union troops because he was the best, like the best of the best. The most skilled, the most experienced, the most professional. I mean, he was the top-notch general of his time. Ulysses S. Grant, not so much. He was a drunk. He was a brute, but in all fairness, William Tecumseh Sherman won the war for not Ulysses S. Grant, but Robert E. Lee was a brilliant man, and he said, "No, I can't, because I have to go with my people. I have to go with the South.
West
That's where
Virginia.
I live. That's where my family is.
West Virginia?
My ties to the land are. That's where my
West
obligations
Virginia.
lie."
Yeah, I believe it's West Virginia.
Oh shit. The Union was like, "Oh shit, really? Oh damn. We were hoping you'd say yeah. We were pretty sure that you would say yeah." Okay. Hey, somebody throw some coffee and Ulysses S. Grant over there. Tell him to get his shit together and let's go. But you see what I mean? You see my point. A lot of that's going to happen. A lot of folks are going to go to the left, go to the right. So, and that's going to be a tumultuous time if we balkanize. What happens to the feds? What happens to the federal government? What happens there? That's where all the organization is. That's where all the administrative and all that is. What happens when we balkanize? Do we keep all our representatives and all our senators and all? I mean, do we keep that? Do we make a president of the United Southeastern states? Is there going to be like 6 presidents of the United States? Do they all answer to one president? I mean, no,
They won't be the United States.
Out there, but how far does this go?
Shattered states of America.
It just don't make sense. So that's probably what's going to happen. And there's going to be infighting inside those states. Because everybody's going to be worried. Everybody's going to be, fuck, man. Why? Because when you step away from the union, you lose the backing of the union. You lose a lot of shit, and they take a lot of shit back. They're like, yeah, well, we built this dam, we're taking it back, or whatever. So there's gonna be a fight. Like, no, you're not gonna take that.
That's our nukes.
It's been ours.
That's our
Thanks for building it, but it's
F-22s, F-35s.
Yeah. So, but states have already been in charge of things.
These are our federal buildings.
And there's a lot of military bases and a lot of federal buildings and federal organizations in certain states. Are they going to just up and leave, or are we going to absorb them? And if we do absorb them, will they be federal spies? So it's and then later on down the road, are we going to have like warlords, in charge of, say, southeastern United States, whatever, or northwestern United States, quadrant 2 goes to war with quadrant 1, and what the fuck? Do they absorb? I mean, damn it, it's gonna be balkanized feudalism. It's possible. It's very possible. And who's to say that at that point in time, That's when the foreign countries, the foreign powers come in and start pushing their weight around. That's what I see. Once we balkanize, that's it. We're speaking German. We're speaking Chinese.
Speaking Russian.
Eventually. So, stop it right there. 49 degrees. 49.
Amitabha.
But anyway,
Om Mani Padme Om.
yeah, this is Mad Chad.
Tofu.
Encouraging you all to train. Continue to train, continue to prep. Because it is indeed a mad world. Greetings from the Erie Coast.
Yeah.